Welcome, welcome. You're tuned in to the Crew Podcast and Media Network, where voices rise, stories shine, and purpose meets the world.
Welcome to the Crew. Come on in. This is where it starts. We are the change. We are the change. Right here in our heart. Welcome home, welcome through. There's a place for you. The Crew around the world, lifting every voice too. We make space for the voiceless, hope for the undeserved. Real talk, real stories. Every voice deserves to be heard. Streaming live, we on the move. Facebook, Twitch, Kick, YouTube. From the mic to the nations, we build transformation. Change begins with us. Faith, purpose, power, trust. Seen around the world tonight. The Crew shining bright. Come on in and this is where it starts. We are the change. We are the change. Right here in our hearts. Welcome.
They told me no. Too blind, too broken, too late, too different, too loud, too ambitious. But every no pushed me closer to purpose. Now I'm chasing the yes. Just to keep revival. Built from the dirt, but I still rose higher. Walking through storms, but I still kept fire. They said my dreams were way too big, said I should quit, said this was it, but every closed door made me stronger. Every setback only made my vision larger. I got purpose running through my veins, breaking every curse, every chain. Mother trying not to break, for every father carrying heavy weight, for every child that was overlooked, for every dream they misunderstood, for every entrepreneur building from zero, for every survivor becoming their own hero, for every person they counted out. This your anthem, scream it loud. You don't need permission to become, you don't need approval to overcome. The same pain that tried to bury you can become the reason the world remembers you. I am the cycle breaker. I am the curse destroyer. I am the builder. I am the chosen one. I didn't come this far to quit now.
Hey, how you guys doing today? This is Aletha Robinson from Chasing the Yes podcast. I'm so excited about today. Today is a good day. Listen, we have Dr. Reginald Lewis today. So listen, this guy, amazing, an author, entrepreneur, educator. I mean, amazing. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get into a lot of things tonight. We're gonna get into some information. We're gonna get into some advice. We're gonna dig deep, and we're just gonna have a conversation tonight. So, without further ado, hey, Mr. Lewis, how you doing, Dr. Lewis?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's an honor to have you here today.
Now, it's good to be here. Just thank you for this opportunity. It's such a blessing, and I just love your platform.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I guess we can jump right in. Like I told you, we can just have a discussion. I want to get to know you. Like I said before, I looked through a little bit of your book, and I love your book. I wanted to get into what made you write your book, and the story that that runs into how you got into writing the book and what it means to you.
Sure, sure. So, I guess what I'll do is I'll take you on a journey.
Okay.
Um, I started in elementary school, high school. Was an excellent student, gifted student, and when I finally went to college, I said, you know what? Howard University is where I want to be. I want to be part of the Mecca. The problem was during orientation. Well, I wouldn't say the problem, but it was how I internalized the message during orientation. One of the leaders made a statement. Look to your left, look to your right. One of you will not be at graduation. And I thought, wow, who's that going to be? And unfortunately, it was me. I started, I didn't apply myself the way that I should have. I didn't utilize all of my gifts. I started to party, I stopped going to class, and so my grades suffered. And so I had an old school dad. He said, "Look, you're not gonna waste my money, and so you're either gonna come home and go to the military, or you're gonna go to work." And so what ended up happening was I started, working in some jobs, taking different jobs. Um, I also attended some classes at community college in New York, one of the state universities as well, taking some classes just to make sure that, I could develop the skills that I needed because ultimately I wanted to earn my degree.
Mhm.
I didn't have a plan, right? So went to college. I just thought, you know what? Hey, I was always making A's and it was just going to be easy, but I had to have a plan.
Mhm.
So, I ultimately 9/11 happened many moons later, and I found myself without a job and no degree. And
Mm.
so it's hard for me to pivot and try to find a job. I was working in the PR industry. I worked for a number of big brands, but I didn't have that degree, so I always felt like I didn't belong in those spaces. But I really did because I developed the skills. I just didn't have the degree, the credential. So went to a journalist convention, National Association of Black Journalists, Milwaukee, 2002. Met a young lady who's now been my wife for almost 22 years.
Okay.
We got married a couple of years later. And I realized that if I wanted to be married and I wanted to have children, I wanted to set an example for them.
Okay.
So fast forward, I started a program at Paul Quinn College in Dallas, Texas, and it was for adult learners. And so I was able to earn a 4.0. I graduated with honors from Paul Quinn College. And then I was promoted I was a journalist. I was a news producer at the time, and so I was able to I was promoted on the job. So at that point I felt like, wow, actually accomplished something, and then I saw tangible results as a result of that. But more importantly, our daughter was my wife was carrying our daughter at the time. So I tell my daughter, yes, you've been to 3 graduations. You only realized 2 of them, but you were there. She was there when I graduated with my undergraduate degree, BS in organizational management. And so, and what Paul Quinn College did, what so effectively, is it made me feel like I could do anything. They helped with building self-efficacy. They made me feel like I belonged. Although I was an adult learner, I still felt like I was part of the campus community. Professors knew me, and so that was so important. And so as we kind of navigated some very tough periods here in the state of Texas and some other states across the country, started with anti-DEI legislation attacking critical race theory and all these other buzzwords they wanted to utilize. Basically, what they wanted to do was to suppress our greatness. And so I was working for the Texas A&M system. And they did some shuffling because of some things that were coming out of the state legislature. And as a part of that, I noticed that my institution, as well as others in the state, started to change their marketing strategies. Instead of trying to be inclusive, they wanted to go to this, typical homogenized look, right? People that, basically it was white-centered marketing. And I said, this is totally unacceptable. If you're in this institution that has 30, 40, 50,000 students, you should be able to show some minority faces, especially if they are paying tuition, because they deserve to be part of the community. And so a lot of students, I started to hear things like, well, I don't really feel comfortable on this campus. Maybe I should transfer to another campus. And just other marginalized students from underrepresented groups started to voice their opinions about how they were being perceived, not only on the website for marketing, but also in the classroom. Their intelligence was being challenged. And so it was a difficult time. And so at that point, something in me said, you know what, I have this is burning inside of me. And that's how the book was manifested. It was born out of trauma, to be honest. And so students, all students, but certainly students of color, disabled students, LGBTQ students, all of those students need to feel like they belong. Because if you're going to go to a school and pay $80,000
Yeah,
here, you need to be represented.
absolutely.
Yes. And so that's how the book was born.
And that's amazing. That's awesome because you're right. I mean, a lot of the times in different, so I'm disabled and I'm a minority as well. So we have to have some type of inclusion. I don't care what nobody says. They can say what they want to say, but we do want to feel included. I don't care what area, what LGBT, I don't care. You know what I mean? We all want to have some type of inclusion. So I felt it when I read the title of your book. You know what I mean? The belonging is the brand. Like I really did. When you're able to be a part of something or you feel as though you're a part of something, it gives you a purpose. So I understood that very well.
Thank you.
Your career has taken you through marketing, communications, higher education, and even organizations. I'm gonna mess it up. Is it?
Oh, Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the NHL.
Mhm.
So, what lessons from those experiences can entrepreneurs take to build stronger businesses and brands?
Okay, the first thing I would recommend is being able to control your narrative.
Okay.
Okay. Storytelling is very important, whether that's you're sharing the fact that you launched a new product or new service, or you're trying to, pitch to a multi-billionaire for some VC funding. You need to control your narrative, because once the media, because I, like as I mentioned, I work for the media. I was a news producer. Once a journalist is able to take control of that and shape it, then that has a negative impact on your overall brand. And so what you want to be able to do is to establish that culture. And you do that by having a strategy. Some people may say have a business plan. You can have all of those elements, but once you have that strategy, you have to be fearless. Excuse me.
Fearless. Yeah.
In executing. You can't be fearful, because fear has hampered many careers. From athletics to business. Fear will keep you from reaching your destiny. And if you have that, once you can control that narrative and that brand, then you've engendered trust. And so when people trust you, it doesn't matter if you create a bookmark or you create a car. If you engender that trust, people will always follow you. They'll go looking for you. They'll move to another state and still try to find you. So, but you have to control that narrative so they know, like, okay, all right, when Miss Robinson says something, that's gospel. I know that. I've heard from her for the last decade. She's been very consistent. That's what you want. And you do that by controlling that narrative, because for example, with Cirque du Soleil, when I worked at a firm that Cirque du Soleil hired for their first tour in the United States. It's a company, a theatrical company that's based out of Montreal, Canada.
Okay.
And so what they wanted was, like, they wanted to enter New York City, and wanted to compete with Ringling Brothers and Barnum
Okay.
Bailey. And so I literally had to call journalists and celebrities and beg them to take tickets in order to attend this circus, if you will. So I'm talking to agents, like, I'll give you a client 12 tickets, 14, 20, however many tickets they need, but I just need you all to attend some of these performances. Well, we had a sold out. Well, we kind of papered it. I mean, it was full, and the reviews were amazing. Celebrities were telling their friends and colleagues about it, and so that first run, they had to extend the run, actually, and so that started it. Huge success, and now Cirque du Soleil is around the world. They have different circuses that different. They have one that's always based in Vegas, and so they just, depending on the audience, they're very good about market segmentation. They know their audience, and so they say, okay, well, this is the demographic, and these are the types of individuals that travel to Vegas. This is the circus that we're going to have there. We're not going to take the same one that we traveled with 20 years ago, like Ringling Brothers did. Is they change the themes, the performers, and so that's why they're so successful. And so even in business, we have to be able to pivot and make those changes, adapt to the markets. So that way we can continue to stay relevant. Now, you can have a core product or service, but you need to be able to have some sub brands as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I understand what you mean. And actually, you put me right to my next question. So my next question is, at CMCE Academy, which is the academy that I built, is CEO Mind Shift Creator Empire. That's the name of it, Academy, right?
Mhm.
And so at CMCE Academy, which we teach entrepreneurs to the importance of discipline, structure, and execution. From your perspective, what separates entrepreneurs who build lasting businesses from those who struggle to move beyond having a great idea?
Mm, that's a great question. And I think one of the biggest differentiators to me would have to be successful entrepreneurs visualize the outcome. So if they want to sell um, a product or service, aspiring entrepreneurs will say, well, I want to launch this by August.
Mhm.
Successful entrepreneurs state, I want to launch by August, and by the end of August, I want to have 100 customers paying on these tiers.
Mhm.
I got a gold, bronze, and silver level, and they know how to attack those different areas. They know, like, okay, when I start to reach out to folks, who are the ones that are gonna pay the premium level versus the lower level, and they know how to work all those different levels. So they see the outcome and they attack the outcome. And there's nothing wrong with having goals and executing those goals, but you don't want those to. You want to have a direction. It's kind of like having that GPS.
Okay.
You want to know where you're going. You may not know exactly where you're headed.
Mhm.
You may not know that. Maybe you say I want 100 customers and you just hit 90.
Mhm.
Well, that's fine. What does the next quarter look like, or the next year? Just building off of those. Like, hey, I want to increase by 2% each month. Having those goals and pushing towards those goals, and just never giving up. I've worked with some big brands that have faced some difficult times. At one point, Dance State of Harlem almost closed its doors because it didn't have enough money, didn't have enough funding. Although the multimillionaires and billionaires in New York love Dance State of Harlem, but the operational costs were so much. They travel around the world, worldwide tours. It was expensive.
Yeah.
So, they had to furlough, some dancers, for a few years just to make ends meet. But now they're thriving. So there may be some lean times, and you just can't be discouraged by those. Every company, runs into those periods, but just keeping your eye on the prize and keeping your eye on that goal.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's some good advice. Like very, very good advice. Okay. One thing that really inspired me about your story
Hmm.
is your educational journey.
Hmm.
You left college,
Hmm.
returned years later, earned your bachelor's degree, and eventually your doctorate. What kept you going, and what would you say to someone who feels like they're behind in life or in business?
Hmm. That's good. I think for me, the biggest thing was I had champions. I had people supporting me, championing me. Now, not to say that my parents didn't support me early on. I just was young and dumb. I thought I knew everything and I could do anything without any assistance. And so I learned the hard way that it definitely takes a village, but I tried to do it without that village. So later on, had a daughter. When I was working on my MBA, I was taking some online classes, and she would actually sit on my lap as I took some exams. And so she was an inspiration because I didn't want to let her down. But more importantly, I didn't want to let myself down as a black man. I had struggled trying to get that at the bachelor's degree, and I said never again. I said it's full steam ahead. I had family members, younger family members looking at me. My wife's family members were looking to see how I was progressing, and they were always feeding me positive, thoughts, scriptures. They would show up to events. If I did presentations, they were there. So just ensuring that and everyone, folks may not have that support system, but you have one champion. Either it could be a coworker. Just let them love on you and support you, and build that self-efficacy. But then also find those when you're in the collegial environments, finding your people on the campus. And that could be from student organizations, maybe working in the president's office, or finding some some administrators you can connect with. But try to plug in to a couple of organizations, one that even stretches you. It may not be one that you're really connected to, aligned with, but you may learn something and find new advocates that you may be able to utilize for future endeavors. Once you graduate and you're in the workforce, you may end up working with some of those individuals.
Okay, and so I have a follow-up question behind that, because like you said, it could be two different ways, right? You can not have the community, and you could have a community. What would you tell the person that does not have the community and all they have is themselves pushing them to do this? I mean, I'm gonna say me, for instance, right? It's just me, and I am doing this everything that I am doing, or I am accomplishing, or completing is I'm doing it. I'm pushing myself, right, to do these things. What advice would you give me? Because sometimes I wake up and be like, you know what? I don't know if I can do it today. I
Yes.
want to give up. I'm not gonna lie, I do have those times. But what advice would you give me if you don't have that? Now I do have friends. I do have friends that say, you're doing a good job. You're doing but as far as a village or a community, I don't have that. So what type of advice would you give me?
Sure. I would say that just connect with individuals. Like, okay, for example, if you're having a rough day, you can't work on an assignment. You may want to bounce something off someone. Contact somebody like me. The people you interview, people you come in contact with, create your little network, right? Create your little group chat and just say, look, I'm working on a paper. Can one of you, review something, or I may want to bounce an idea off of someone. And then that way you just kind of, extending that net, right?
Yeah.
Or even if you're taking classes and they may be online classes, connect with somebody, in your class,
Okay.
and just say, I like your work. I think your work is something that I can relate to or respect or something like that, and just say, look, can we work together on something, or can we just like get some coffee, or the virtual chat, or whatever the case may be. Is just being open to those conversations. All
Okay.
right. It's almost like when you start a new job, and you got it on your own, no one connected you, and you have to start building your network at work. And so you try to find those people you feel like you align with, whether it may look like you, may have the same political views as you, educational values. But as you start to build that network, now it becomes a case of you turn and you have 30 or 40 people cheering you on. for one reason or another, or it may be one season. You may say, hey, I'm working on this, my thesis, and I need 10 people to look at it. And you have those 10 people. And it's just, like I said, I'm totally open to working with you, helping you, cheering you on, because, like I tell people, once you make it, you reach back and you bring somebody with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the next question is, if you were helping me build the curriculum for CMCE Academy, what are the three most important lessons every new entrepreneur should learn before they focus on growing or scaling their business?
I would say find out all of the, you know, trademarks, licenses, all of the the legal things. Try to find out. You're gonna do an LLC, sole proprietorship. Figure those things out. Iron those things out early. Then again, have that business plan, that marketing strategy, in order and be ready to execute with timelines, budget, things of that nature. And then also, just what are your outcomes? Do you want to just build awareness with customers? Are you actually trying to generate sales? Because at that point now you're looking at calls to action. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to download something? Do you want them to click and buy immediately? Lead generation. So once you have those things figured out, then you can kind of build your funnel in order to achieve those respective goals. As I mentioned before, you may have 3 tiers of membership, if you will. And once you have that funnel, you realize, okay, this is how I attack each tier, and fill those spots.
Okay. And that's kind of what I do teach about. I teach about market research. They have to do that. They have to make sure that the niche that they're going in is a passion. That's what I teach people.
Mhm.
If you're going to have a niche, you have to teach in your passion, because if you don't, and it's just something that you feel will make money only, then you won't have the heart and the passion to continue. And a lot of people, or a lot of entrepreneurs, end up doing that, and it's just about the money, and it doesn't last. Or
Yeah.
if it doesn't last, they are miserable in what they do, but they love the money that they're making, right?
Mhm.
And so to me, it doesn't make sense. So that's the thing that I teach. When I am teaching people, when I'm coaching, that's what I teach them about. I think market research is really one of the most important things that you could do. Um, Find out, what you are starting, the business that you're starting. Go look at people that already has a successful business. Go
Mhm.
look and see what's the number on it, that I don't know what just happened. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second because I can't see you. My computer doing something. Okay. How much money they make in that field, those type of things. So I'm asking questions because I'm still learning at the same time, like I said, so I
Oh
really.
no, that's great. I mean, I like what you said about passion, because I think about my early educational journey, and that I didn't have that, and
Okay.
that's why it was easy for me to leave. So passion is very important, and I didn't really understand that
Mhm,
until later in life,
mhm,
because all I was doing was, especially after I started working, was working to make money. It was go to work, make money, and not the growth wasn't there.
mhm,
So yes, definitely on the market research side, just to augment what you said, which was great. Conducting that SWOT analysis, right?
mhm.
When you do that market research, looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and how the competitors fit into that. That's very key. Because I see a lot of, and I'm sure this happens where you are, but we got a lot of coffee shops that pop up, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
yes, I mean, like all over the place. And so the ones that are successful, you can tell they conducted market research in the right way.
Yep.
And they did a good job in drilling down, and looking at those opportunities and combating those threats. Like from like a Starbucks, right? Like Starbucks has market share, but it's probably gonna stay where it is because those customers are kind of baked in.
Yep.
They're loyal.
Yep.
But there's so many people that want something different.
Mhm.
And so the ones that are successful really, you can tell they've done some good market research. It was deep and it was rich. So yes, you're absolutely right on that marketing research.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is the last question that I have, but I have a couple of bonus questions as well if you got the time.
Oh, I do.
Okay. So the last question is when people finish reading your book and hearing your story, what do you hope they remember
Mhm.
about Dr. Reginald E. Lewis, not only as an author and educator, but as a leader? What does legacy mean to you?
Wow, that's powerful. I think as far what I want individuals to walk away with is that I'm committed to inclusivity. Inclusive marketing is what I breathe, eat, breathe, sleep. Inclusive marketing because I try to center the voices that are not commercialized. I want to make sure that all students, all individuals feel like they belong. If even if they don't come to my campuses, I want them to feel like they belong in higher education. I don't want young black men to feel like they don't belong. Like I only if I'm not being recruited for athletics, I don't deserve to be on that campus. No, you do.
Yeah.
You could take a different route. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to, if you have aspirations of going to the NFL or the NBA, and your scouts, agent is telling you that yes, you are likely to do that, then that's a different conversation. But for the ones who are not going to start, but they need a good education, instead of playing sports your first year, look at some different opportunities.
Mhm.
Dive into that major.
Mhm.
Get your basics out of the way, maybe at a community college, and then
Mhm.
transfer in, and then maybe you're better prepared
Yeah.
for everything. The athletic side, the academic side. And I want people that read this book to know that there are schools out there that really want them on campus, and then there's some schools that are retreating. They're closing. Multicultural centers. They're eliminating programming. Maybe that's a place that you should avoid. But I want everyone to be educated on what's happening, so that I'm, making decisions blindly about where they go to college, like I did. Had I really looked at the pros and cons, I probably would have selected a different school for me. Howard's a great school,
Mhm.
one of the elites, but it wasn't the right environment for me.
For you. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that goes hand in hand with your passion. You have to be around people that has the same, they say that you need to be around people that has the same drive as you, that
Hmm.
has the same dream as you. You know what I mean? And that will
Yes.
help you get to, like you was talking about, the end of knowing what the end part. You know what I mean? You knowing where your end result is at. You have to be around those type of people. So I absolutely get that as well. So this one is going to be rapid fire. I have like four questions really quick.
Sure.
Okay, so My bad. What's one marketing mistake you see entrepreneurs make over and over again?
I would have to say the storytelling piece, um, because they try to control it in a way. Okay, so if when they hire someone to handle the marketing,
Mhm,
they try to control it and they
mhm,
get in the way,
mhm.
and they don't allow the expertise to actually unfold. They're impatient. They want results like yesterday. But instead of seeing it grow organically, what you want is sustainability. You want 20 years of brand presence. You don't want 2 years.
Yeah.
So just allowing the expert to do his or her job, I see that mistake quite often, that they get in the way. And when they do it themselves, they lack the consistency. There's no strategy. They
Okay,
may.
guys, that's me.
Yeah.
Like, you're a hands-on person all the time. And
Yeah.
yes, I have learned through trial and error and through people telling me, friends, associates, family members, you always want your hand in everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you're
Yes.
absolutely correct because I'm going to have to relinquish that. I'm going to have to say, okay, this person needs to handle that. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? I need them to do the marketing. So you are absolutely right about that. That is so true.
And I'm
And
guilty of it too.
okay.
So even with the book marketing, like I don't want to relinquish anything, and
Yeah.
so because I think I know everything, but sometimes I need to remove myself from it because other individuals see the full landscape and see the bigger picture instead of just what's in front of me. So just being able to just kind of move out of the way.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to learn how to do that as well.
Yeah. Me too. Okay. And then also, how can entrepreneurs create a sense of belonging and trust with their customers from day one?
Now that's going to be through, I would say, a combination of marketing and communication. Um,
Hello.
you you want to have a newsletter, digital newsletter that you can send out to your customers. You are responsive to feedback on your social media channels. You want to be able to have real time information from your customers if you can. And they may be rating a product. Even a survey. After this podcast, what did you think? What kind of guests would you like to see in the next 2 to 3 weeks? Always staying in touch with your customers, because once they feel like they're just a number and
Mhm.
you're just looking for a sale, and there's no connection there. They want to have a connection to the brand, and the brands that are successful always they stay connected to their clients. And so it's, as entrepreneurs, it's important to set a cadence. It may be a monthly e-newsletter. Send that out. You may not have a whole lot of information, but maybe just put a poll question in there.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this? It could be something related to your business. It could be something related to the industry. But making sure that you'll end up with some loyal customers who you can always count on as early adopters. And so that's important. Is just developing that connection with your customers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Someone said I definitely have to know when to let someone else do the work. Laugh out loud. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And actually, Trevita is like she my soundboard. I have to go to her. Like that. Trevita is somebody that I get on the phone with, and that's about the only person. But I'll call her and be like, Trevita, da 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 da. She my soundboard. Like I have to tell her. And um the next question, and I'll make this be the last one. Okay. So, what's one daily habit that has contributed most to your success?
Writing in the journal.
Oh wow. Okay.
Outside of prayer, I would say is writing in a journal because my brain works in a way that I just have like these moments where it's just so much information enters my brain, all these ideas, and I have to write them down because they may not be fully baked. But if I can go back to it, on Friday, after I've written it on Monday, maybe I can make the connection and carry it out to a fully fleshed idea. And so it is. And another thing is, my lens is always okay. So when I for marketing or PR, when I look at things, I'm looking at things from a multicultural lens and a legal lens because I want to make sure that all customers are accounted for, but then also I'm looking at it legally, like, how can the media turn this and make this into a negative? As a news producer, I was always trying to find that little nugget to create a story for my newscast. And so sometimes, the angle is positive and sometimes it wasn't. And I mean, to be honest with you, but I always try to, put on my former journalist hat, and I try to look at things from a legal perspective, like how, if this were to happen, how would I respond? About my product or service, how would I counsel someone else? So I'm always thinking of those types of things, and those things I have to write down. So especially when it comes to things like this, if for example, if you put something on your website and someone decides, hey, I'm going to write into the Attorney General and I'm going to file an official complaint because I feel like this is CR, critical race theory, right? Or whatever the latest boogeyman is. How do you respond? What are those talking points? If a journalist knocked on your door, what would you say? So I'm always thinking of those types of things. Write them, I'll write them down, and what I do, and what I think all entrepreneurs should do is have a messaging vault. So it could be just a document in Google Sheets or Word, and you talk about different scenarios. If you have a product, and for example, maybe it's some food catering service. What happens if somebody gets sick? Somebody eats lettuce, and then they, end up having some issues, and they find out it came from my food. Like, how do I respond to a journalist coming asking me why I continue to use lettuce when there's a recall? So I'm always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, you should have that messaging vault. That's how you control your narrative, is that when they come to you, you're able to deliver those messages, and not get thrown off track, or they can't take advantage of you, and get it by getting that upper hand.
Okay, so I got two more questions. I thought I was done. I'm sorry. I got two more questions. It's short. Okay, what would you say to entrepreneurs that are kind of afraid of using any AI tools to help them to create things in their business, or even start a business, or whatever the case may be? And do you as well use AI to help you with business?
I do, and I'd use it for ideation, because there may be times when I'm trying to think of something and I'm stuck, and I may use it to brainstorm. And with now you could just you can name your AI tool, right? You could you just say, hey Sheila,
Yeah. Yeah.
bounce something off of you, and and being an older individual,
Mhm.
I'm kind of on that. I'm on the border as far as how I feel about AI,
Mhm.
but I have to utilize it in order to maintain relevancy.
I was just finished that. You took it out my mouth. You
Yes,
literally took that out my mouth. Yeah,
yes,
relevancy.
yes. As much as I want to say, well, I want to do it on my own, and this is my idea. No, the tool is there.
Yeah.
Use
Use
the
it.
tool.
Use it. Yeah.
Even if it's just to build the framework.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yes.
fill in all the rooms, when building a house, just build the frame,
Yes.
and then you see like, you know what? The AI is using best practices. And
Absolutely.
so I don't have to create this from scratch. It's
Right.
pulling best practices and I can just fill in what I need to. And so it cuts down on all the work you have to do. It makes you more efficient.
Yes.
Um, and also, if you need to store things, you can go back, look at chats, and see, like, you know what? This is how this morphed over time. And this is how we got to this point. How do we take this how do we scale the business?
Yes.
Ask, like, look, I want to go from 100 customers to 10,000 customers in 12 months. How do I do that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and it'll give you a plan. This is what we do each month, each week, what have you. And
Yeah.
so to say no, you kind of, for me, I would basically, box myself out of any jobs, right?
Yeah.
Because and this is how I feel about AI now. If you don't learn how to use it, you get left out of the market.
Yes.
You get left out. And
Yeah.
so now, if it's like, hey, write my book, that's different, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But in order to, because your competitors are going to use it,
Right.
uh,
Right.
and so
Right.
you have to keep up with everyone.
Yeah.
Now I don't, I'm not for like kids using it in class and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I could see like if they're doing homework and they got to read something from like the early 1900s. I mean, hey, we went and got Cliff Notes and other things to kind of break things down for us. So, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. But as far as like completing assignments and like, I'm not with that. But from a business standpoint, you got to use the tools that are available.
Yeah, and you have to use tools that your competitors are using. And
Hmm.
that's literally what I teach too. I teach people, but I teach them how to use multiple platforms of AI to use them together as a whole or as a team. So they'll know how to use all of them and each
Yes.
one of them has a separate type job, right? Right.
Hmm.
So that's what I teach also to entrepreneurs or people that come in and say, well, I don't even know how to use AI. I hold AI classes. I teach them about, what to do with it. Chat is for this, Manus is for this, Claude is for this, and how you can use it in different ways. And you can build things faster. You don't have to, try to figure everything out by yourself. Like you said, the
Hmm.
ideation, like you having the ideas. If you don't have the ideas, you can speak something into chat and say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to build, and it automatically gives you a framework of what you can, what you can develop literally in a couple of weeks to a couple of months, right?
Yes. Yes.
um so I teach that as well. Okay, and then so if you could give every entrepreneur right now that's listening some advice that could help them this week, what would it be?
Mm, I would say share your story with your local media.
Okay.
And I say that as a former news producer because newscasts have an audience of at least 150, 200,000 homes, depending on where you live.
Okay.
you can reach those homes with one story. You can repurpose that story, share it on socials, put it on your website, reference, you can even in your marketing materials, as seen on NBC 15. That's how you use the media to your advantage. You enter 200,000 homes. If you paid for it, you'd be spending you know a lot of money in order to advertise for that type of market share. And again, if it's a really good story, you may be in Atlanta, Georgia, where the story originates. But then, the NBC affiliate in New York or LA or Chicago, they may pick up that same story. So now you're spreading your network, and then once you realize you're in those markets, then you could do some targeted marketing.
Yes, yes, that's good advice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So,
Now, can you tell everybody how they can get a hold of your book? They can get information from you, they can get in contact with you. Everything is about you for however long you speak.
okay, sure. Thank you, Ms. Robinson. I appreciate it. So, if for anyone interested in Belonging is the Brand, they can go to my website, drreginaldlewis.com, REGINALDLEWIS.com. They can find me on Instagram at Dr. Reggie Lou. And then on TikTok, they can find me as well, Reggie Lou there. And right now I have the paperback, which is the second edition. The first edition was an ebook, so both of those items are available there. And if anyone is interested in hearing me speak, or maybe a book signing, they can reach out at reggilewis44@gmail.com.
Okay, do you have any services or anything like that that you do other than
Yeah, I would say, media relations. If anyone is interested in developing a plan to work with those media outlets,
Okay.
I can certainly help with that. It could be as small as a little town in Idaho or all the way up to LA and New York. I have contacts all across the country, and if anyone is interested in working with me, reach out to me at reggilewis44@gmail.com, and we can help you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Lewis. I really do appreciate you. I've had an amazing time. I've got some information. I know that the viewers have gotten some information. You are amazing. Like just listening to you tonight really gave me a lot of perspective on even my life, even what I'm doing. So I really do appreciate you. And thank you so much, everybody that came in to Chasing the Yes podcast. Thank you so much. This is Aletha, and we're signing off. Thank you guys for showing up.
Thank you very much, Ms. Robinson. Have a blessed night.
You
Bye,
too.
everybody.